Alrighty, folks, welcome to Hunting the Rut Hotline. It is Thursday night, folks. It is the middle. No, it's not. It's the 1st of August. Can you believe that? August. 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. Today's the 3rd or 4th. Less than 2 weeks, the season will open in South Carolina. The southern zone of South Carolina, August 15th. It's crazy. If you want to kill a buck in velvet, that's the place to go. You run over there. You have all, but you need to get you some BioShield before you go, because you're going to have a lot of mosquitoes over there where you're hunting in the southern zone in South Carolina. But if you want to kill one in velvet, that's the place to go. First place in America comes in August 15th. Folks, it is the 4th of August. It is Thursday night, and we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things. We're going to be catching up on some stuff. We went on a road trip. We're going to share that with you, show you some stuff, and let you meet some folks that we met, and we'll be back in just one moment.
You don't like old milk. Deer don't like old urine. Brown and cloudy urine reeks of ammonia. Ammoniated urine means it's old, not fresh, and it doesn't fool deer. Top Secret Deer Scents, the only scent on the market that's oxygen-free from collection to bottle. It's yellow and clear because it's fresh. It's the only scent on the market that says a deer is here now and not last week.
All right, folks, listen, it is August the 4th, and folks, it is, hey, in most states, we're just 45 days, 60 days away from season opening. Literally everywhere, it's a busy time, and because it is already the 1st of August, of course, most people started doing it the middle of July. You know, July 4th, like we told you, it's on. It's like the green light changes and it's on go. Everybody's forced to start looking toward fall. A lot of you guys have already been in the woods. You're seeing more trucks out there going to and from the woods. You're going to your pieces of property. You're getting ready to plant those food plots. You're starting to clear and hang stands. You're starting to look at that. The least amount of pressure on the property, the better, but you got to go do what you're going to do. But nevertheless, you need, and we'll talk about that, you know, even if you're going into the woods to cut stands, to do food plots and stuff like that, not so much on the food plots because your tractors and your trucks and stuff, that's all the same. You know, they're kind of used to that, especially in and around farming. But if you're going into the woods, then you need to treat yourself just like you're going to hunt. Kill the human odor. You haven't got to use scent, deer scent, but do kill your human odor. And of course, it's pre-season archery, so it's going to be summer. It's going to be, as you can see, all the stuff about the Zika virus. You do really, truly want to get you some BioShield. Wash down, kill your human odor, just like you're going to do. Take as the lightest footprint in the woods as possible as you're going in. Keep in mind, we're serious about hunting, but those deer are there to stay alive. They still have the same 3 defenses. They don't just happen to have it in the fall. They've got the same ears, eyes, and nose in the summer. So when you go in, while you're just doing about them, they're patterning you. So while you're trying to pattern them, they're patterning you. So keep that in mind as a predator. You're at the top of the food chain. Kill your human odor. Take care of the mosquitoes, chiggers, black flies, the ticks going in. Just consider yourself hunting as you go in, and it'll make you more successful as season comes up. So there's a lot of things going on. Tonight, what we're going to do, we're going to try to take some callers in, but we're also going to try to come and kind of catch up on some Facebook and other stuff. It has been a very busy week. We have been all over the country, been up all the way up into Virginia. Had a great visit up there. Took the bus and the truck by and made a few coal stops, and you're going to see some of the folks that we met. In fact, you want to do that later on? You want to throw it up there? Going up there in Galax, Virginia, and beautiful place up in the mountains there. And we thought we'd stop at a Tractor Supply. Well, we did, and when we went in the Tractor Supply, of course, Tractor Supply carries our products in all their stores nationwide, and we pulled up in the truck, and we met these 2 gentlemen, Mongo and Matty, and man, they were absolutely just super. Boy, Matty absolutely made our national sales manager John's jaw drop by telling him all about Top Secret. He knew everything about it. He knew how it worked, how to sell it. He knew it all. And Big Mongo right there, you see him on the left of the screen there, and Maddie on the right. And I think Big Mongo's going to try to call in to work. Boy, that's pitiful. Pitiful, pitiful, pitiful. But they saw that truck, and here they come. Well, we told them, said, we'll be back in just a minute. We'll be back in just a minute. And we drove up in that bus. Everything broke loose then. So they had to come out and get the pictures taken. And two funny guys, good guys. Of course, Tractor Supply is a good account. And one of the reasons Tractor Supply is such a good account, such a good store, is because employees like Maddie and Mongo. Because seriously, when you walk into a Tractor Supply, you're getting some expertise. You're not just walking in somebody who's going to say, let me say you something. They really understand the product and the category. And these two boys not only are good workers for Tractor Supply, they're good hunters, and they enjoy it. And we had a big time with them, and maybe Mongo will call in later. I think he's going to try to call in, which is an absolute hoot. And if you were to have Maddie and Mongo together, what's that on the Ice Age? Is it the Ice Age? What's the name of that show? The little, what's the little, huh? Is he Mongo?
No.
What's he called?
Sid.
Huh?
Sid.
Sid. I don't know why Mongo, he's going, so why are you calling me Sid? But they kind of remind me of those two. I don't know why, but they do. All right, guys, so what do you want us to get started with tonight? All right, we're gonna start off with some questions. Guys, listen, we do apologize. It seems like we're just in it. It is crazy. Top secret, Portland, we're growing. You know, top secret, scent defense, BioShield, we're growing, so we're all over the place. And, you know, we're trying to get this stuff out there in all the national accounts and all the retailers in your area to where all you got to do is just walk down the street or go down across town and get what you need. And if you don't, your dealer does not carry top secret, demand it. We're sort of like Fox News. If you ain't got the Fox, what is the financial channel? What is it? Fox Business. Demand it. Ask for it. Go in there and say, hey man, I want you to carry some top secret. I want some BioShield. I want some scent defense. And they'll carry it because they don't want you to go somewhere else to get it from somewhere else because you may buy a gun or a bow or something else while you're there. You see what I'm saying? So help us out. Ask for it. Jack Stuck from Claremore, Oklahoma. Jack's wanting to know what causes late season rutting. Well, I think what Jack is asking, Jack, I think what you're asking is what's causing the post-rut. Because rutting, you know, of course we've said this time and time and time again on this show, is that the rut's the entire hunting season, pre, peak, post. And so what happens is there is a second, once the doe comes into estrus, and if she's not bred, she'll recycle again in 30 days and come back in. And so those does that didn't get bred the first time will recycle and come back in post-rut, which is post-peak of the rut. So you have pre, peak, post, and there's always a way smaller number of that, what you're calling a late season rutting. It does happen. It happens everywhere. Some year it may seem like it's a little more than others, and it sure it could be, just simply because you could have a higher percentage of does. It could be for when they were born versus just the weather, to a variety of reasons why, but there is some variance in that tail end, but still the peak is when the majority are in. Now, an aside to that, Jack, one of the best ways, the best time to rattle, which is, you know, this is a rattling bag, if you were to rattle a buck anywhere in the country, you know, rattle, most people think the best time to rattle is during the peak of the rut. Actually, it's the least effective time to rattle. It's not that it's not effective, it's just least effective. And think about it. When you rattle, if I were to take a set of horns or a rattling bag and rattle, what did I just tell that other buck? I told another buck is tending, two bucks are sparring. What are they fighting over? They're fighting over a doe. Whose doe? My doe. So rattling is an infringement. So if you rattle during the peak of the rut, there's does everywhere. What difference does he care if he has less of an urgency to come get you off of that doe when there's 10 standing over here? He can't even get to everybody standing around. So he's less likely to come, not that he won't, because he will, but it's less effective because there's more doe standing simply because it's a peak. Best time to rattle is just before the peak because there's only a few does in. Keep in mind, when does come in, all of a sudden it's not the peak. They start trickling in, and as they start building up, so these that are building up, there's not a lot in, there's competition, supply and demand. Once it's a peak, they're standing everywhere. Now watch this, Jack, to your question. Once it goes post-rut, what you're calling a second rutting or late season rutting, which is really just post-rut, the winding down, so you got a few does in, there's competition, peak of the rut, most of them are standing, less competition because there's does standing everywhere. Then those that didn't get bred come back in post-rut, there's only a few in again. So rattling now there's more going to come to it because they know there's only a few there. So it's supply and demand. Best time to rattle, pre and post-rut. All right. Now, Jack, I hope that answers your question. Do not call us. If it ain't got you completely confused, give us a buzz and maybe we can confuse you more. Big James Best out of Keyport, New Jersey. And it's always fascinating to see where these people call in from. They ride in and call in from all over the country. And please, as you watch this show, pay attention to this. It's amazing how far reach it is. And then notice the questions coming from the different parts of the country. That makes a difference too in what time of year it is on the questions they're asking from what part of the country it is. James wants to know, what do you believe is the number one tactic successfully killing a rutting buck? Man, James, I'm stuttering on that because it really depends on where you are, what time during when you call him a rutting buck, because he's rutting from the time he sheds velvet to the time he drops his antlers. Again, let me clarify what I think James is asking. Now let me ask that, understand, and I always clarify this, understand that a buck's in rut from the time he sheds velvet to the time he drops his antlers. We just opened this show by talking about South Carolina. The only state that a buck's not in rut, the majority of the bucks are not in rut when season opens, is South Carolina, because it opens August 15th, they're in velvet. Once they're out of velvet, he's in rut. Biologically, he can breed, and he can breed all the way to the time he drops his antlers. In light of that, let me read the question again. James asks, what do you believe is the number one tactic to successfully killing a peak of the rut buck? Because when he says rutting buck, I'm assuming he's talking about this, which means he's chasing a doe. Now that's a total different question, and it's a total different answer to that. Because once he starts chasing a doe, he's hot and heavy. I mean, I have shot deer. I have seen deer shot. I have heard of people shooting deer. I have seen deer on film shot, knock them down, get back up, and chase the doe. I've seen arrows go completely through a buck, him flinch, kick and run, stop, like, man, what was that? See her and get right back on her and run her and fall over. That's how intense it is when you're in the peak of the rut, when he's chasing, when he's hot and heavy during the peak. He's one-minded. But the question is a rutting buck, which is the entire season. So in light of, let's use the rutting buck. During dead peak of the rut, I'm talking, let's talk about, you're in New Jersey, so let's say peak of the rut there's, November the 7th to about the 15th is on. When it's on, right? So get high. I mean, you can sit there and do a lot of things, but of course if you're bow hunting, you got to get close. But get high and get still. Because once they start chasing, they're chasing. I mean, at that point, they're checking. Now, he may come by and check a scrape and just downwind and keep going. He's not necessarily going to walk up and look in that scrape. If the peak's on, they're going to be cruising. He's looking. They're not. They're checking their house, but they're cruising. Okay, so of course, obviously you always need to be grunting and rattling and using buck urine. Of course, during the peak of the rut, again, I'm qualifying the question, but during the peak of the rut, you need to have estrus with it. Let's see here, Zach, how do you say that? Z-A-K? Zach? Singleton, since Sand Springs, Oklahoma again. 2 of them tonight. What's the best caliber rifle for a whitetail? We get this asked every now and then. And Chris back there hates me to say relevant, but it's always a relevant question. Probably, what is the best caliber? The word best is a qualifier. If you were to ask me what is the most popular, which is not necessarily always the best, it just happens to be the most popular, is probably a 270. A 270 is probably the number one whitetail rifle in America. It's choice. Good gun anywhere, knock any whitetail down anywhere in the country. Where you shoot them is a different question, but all around, probably the number one rifle sold in the country, number one caliber is a 270. I believe we got a caller on the phone. Do it? Maybe? Pressure's on back, ain't it, Tom? But look, seriously, we do have one. All right, got Don Bell. Who we talking to?
Hey, this is Mongo from Dale, Virginia.
Big Mongo.
How you doing, Don?
I'm doing good.
I got a question for you, buddy.
All right, put it on me.
Here in Virginia, we're limited to using just synthetic fence. How does the synthetic stack up against the real deal?
Well, I mean, Mongo, and guys, by the way, this is Mongo. Did you see, I don't know if you were seeing the show earlier, Mongo, but we got your pretty picture up there.
Okay.
What'd you do to Matty?
Yeah, he's here. He just,
Are you at work?
some business type things.
Doing some business type thing. We're telling him we're proud of him. To answer your question, Mongo, seriously, Virginia just went synthetic. I don't know how long that's going to stand. Our gut reaction is that's not going to stand very long. But is synthetic? Synthetic is as close as you can get to the real stuff. Yeah. Obviously. Let me answer your question by saying, which would be better, a set of antlers or a rattling bag? Well, a set of antlers is better, absolutely better than a rattling bag, but a rattling bag will still kill deer. And somebody won't shoot you as you're going in the woods with it. If you did, you're somewhere doing something you shouldn't do. So a rattling bag is as close as you can get to the real antlers, and there's been a many buck killed off of that. Now, having said that, if you ask me, had I prefer to use top secret real estrus versus top secret synthetic, I'd use top secret real estrus. Now, being that I can't do that in Virginia, you got the next best thing, and Mongo, you have absolutely got the next best thing. Our synthetic is as close as you're going to get to the real stuff. If you notice the color in the bottle, even if you open and close it, will change color. So it's as close as you can possibly get to it. So, man, we have a lot of good results of it all around the country. In fact, we just found out last week when we were up there in your part of the woods that there was even stores in Alabama that got it, asked for it, and the synthetic now I'm talking about, and was just selling through like hotcakes with that stuff. It's because people killing deer with it. So, honestly, the real's better. Obviously, common sense says that, and anybody tells you different is not being truthful with you. But our stuff's good stuff, and you're going to kill deer. And people in Virginia was killing. They were sending pictures in last year with it. Of course, you can find this stuff in your stores and the other stores, all up in that part of the world. Did you? Did anybody say anything about the bus parked out front?
Yeah, we had a lot of customers come in and ask questions about it, and stuff like that. They got a lot of foot traffic in here talking about it.
Did you tell them we'd come to see you?
We did.
You know what? We did.
To check out your Facebook page.
We need to send you a picture. Send you guys a picture of that. Can you get that off of Facebook?
Yes, sir.
You can freeze it, and can you get it? Tom said yes. I'm not a Facebook guy, so I'm not an IT guy, or as you probably have already realized.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did you get the name Mongo?
Well, I'm a pretty big guy, about 320 pounds, and I'm not very nimble. So one day in the store here, after tearing up about 4 or 5 doors and, wrecking a few more things, they decided to call me Mongo.
More like a bull in a china cabinet.
That's it, Mongo and a Tractor Supply.
How long you been there?
About 2 years total.
Really? How long has Matty been there?
He just got his 5-year award.
Really?
Yep.
Well, good. Man, listen, when we walked in, I just had this long discussion with John, which is our national sales manager, and we were talking about various stuff, and I'm always trying to educate and asking questions. He's talking, we're driving up there, and
Yeah.
and we walk in, and you guys just gave him absolutely 3 minutes, just heart and soul of Top Secret.
Yeah.
So you got it down right.
The product works. We know how. We know our stuff on it.
Well, it's a simple message. It's single urine, no oxygen. Dark urine says the deer was there. Clear yellow urine says he's there now. And so we're really excited about it. And tell the people about it. And look, don't run out. Call back to corporate and said, hey, keep it coming. And look, if you need signage or anything like that, and if they'll let you have it, man, just give us a buzz and we'll send you some signage and stuff.
All right, will do.
Well, man, we appreciate it, and you guys, we enjoyed being with you the other day.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, man, tell Maddie to give us a buzz too sometime.
All right, we will.
Are you at work now?
Yes, I am actually. Me and Maddie are the only two in the store.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The whole store?
Yep.
All right, this is not live, folks. He's calling in after work. All right, big dog, sell us something. Hey, look, all that other stuff in there is background noise. You just sell off that end cap right there, baby.
Gotta get the Top Secret off.
That everybody comes in there looking for dog food. Hey, let me tell you about this Top Secret.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Mongo. All right, man. Bye-bye. How much did he say he weighed? 300-something pounds? Mongo, you a crazy fool. You got to see these guys. And I can't say they're the only two in the store because that didn't sound right, did it? A big Tractor Supply store. Of course, it's 7:30. It's 8:30 there, so they're fixing to close. So everybody probably flew the coop. All right, folks, we'll all right, we can take some more questions. All right, I'm going to say Ben because I have no idea how you pronounce that last name. How do you pronounce that, Tom?
Reichenbach.
What?
Reichenbach.
Ben wants to know from Ashbury, New Jersey, what's the difference between Fog Zero Fill Optics treatment and cleaning kit and Fog Zero Optics One Man Express and Fog Zero our electric? Here's the difference. And we're serious with this. The optic pen, the field pen, which is the orange, that's for your optics and stuff. It has the orange one right here. It has a dust brush. It has, thank you, got a blue one there. Thank you, sir. That's what I was looking for. It's got a dust brush in it. It has a buffing pad in it. Chris, can you see that right there? It's got a buffing pad in it. It has 200 usages in it. Right there, sit against my shirt. Plus, it has a lens cloth inside. And the lens cloth inside, like this, comes out, and as it comes out inside of it, you can take it and use it over and over. So this is 200 usages. You got the brush, you got the buffing pad, you have the 200 usages with the lens cloth inside. You can push it in and out. Now, here's the difference between that and the our Minute One Man Express. Orange, blue. I'm not being cute. Orange, blue. Blue is for eye optics. The difference between this one and this one is this one This one retails for $12.95. This retails for $8.95. This one does not have the brush in it. Doesn't have the brush in it because doing glasses you don't need a brush. So why charge you for something you don't need? And so that's the reason why, Ben, that is different. Now, the electronic one here is the same stuff, has the same thing that this one, the orange one, has in it. It's the same product, it says comes apart the same way, has the same solution in it, but it's over in electronics. So that way it's just hunters know orange is for them, green is electronic, blue is for eyeglasses. It's simple color code, but the product that's inside will equally work well on any of the three. In fact, we also have a 8-ounce automotive and an 8-ounce for mirrors. Same stuff. It'll work on any interchangeable. It'd be hard to get out there on a windshield with one of these. You need a spray to be able to do your mirrors at the house or your windshield. And folks, it does work. It works great. We got people comes up to us at shows and stuff that come by the booth. You know, they'll get one at these trade shows and stuff and get it. And all of a sudden, they'll want to be able to find what they can do. And they say, hey, can I get another one of those? Or they'll come by. They'll come by the booth and they'll be talking to you, and they'll pick up while they're talking to you, cleaning the glasses. Just talking to you, clean the glasses, set it back down, and walk on. So it works great. Ben, good product. Good question. But there is differences between them. In the blue one for optics is $8.95. The other two pens are $12.95. So good question. Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes Top Secret Reserve Doe Estrus, the finest doe estrus ever collected. Top Secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 0.1% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their arsenal. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 0.1% club.
All right, folks, we're back. All righty, listen. See the icon? There it is, right there. Look here. It is Hunting the Rut Hotline, and it is Top Secret's 0.1% club. Folks, listen. Even though it's August, you still have time to be a club member of the big bottle of reserve, 26 ounces. Now, folks, $100, don't let that scare you. It's 26 ounces. It'd be several $100s if you were to buy the regular stuff. It's a great buy. It's 26 ounces, $100 bill. Now the $100 bill is going to get you 26 ounces of 3 to 4 year old doe. Can't say it doesn't work. We've already pulled the buck off of the doe. Now listen, it's not for 12,000 bottles for 12 million deer hunters. We're real creative, 0.1% club. But look, August, you still have time. If you were to go to the page, you'll be able to see you can buy one. Hit the hotline tonight, go to the button, go to the website, and you can hit it and buy a one-time payment, or you still have time to do a 4-month payment. You can actually, mama's doing something, whatever mama's doing tonight, you can ease in there and hit that thing right there and get you a 4-pay. And you can divide it up, $25 a month for 4 months, and you can just say, hey, Top Secret, send it to me November the 7th because I'm going to Kansas. And we'll ease it right on in there the first part of November for you to be able to go to Kansas. You can hit the credit card and then to do it 4 over 4 payments, you can become a club member. Now, you can be a club member either buying the buck or the estrus or the buck. But now keep in mind, we say this over and over. We have way less, 1/10 less. Well, we got 12,000 bottles of the reserve each year. You got maybe 1,000 to 1,100 bottles of the buck. Why? The buck is actually harder to get than the doe because, you know, a buck can service several does. You don't have to have 12 bucks to 12 does. So the ratio is the reason why. And so, but you can be a club member either way by buying estrus or buck. We got a lot of club members that buys both. And once you do that, it guarantees you that you'll be able to get that bottle, a bottle the following year. So if you ever want to secure your bottle of buck, All you got to do is get you a buck and estrus, or just a buck, either way you want to do it. But if you do a bottle of buck and estrus, then next year you're locked into another bottle of buck and estrus, so long as you re-up into the club. You can't join the club by money. You only join the club by buying a bottle of reserve. It's the most exclusive club in the hunting industry. And folks, think about it, only 1/10 of 1%, not 1%, 1/10 of 1% can even get it. I mean, it's crazy. It is absolutely the best stuff that's ever hit the market. You got a chance to get you some. Hit that button tonight and go get you some. And you can tell Mama you can buy her a nice gift. Take her to dinner Friday night, and she'll wonder why. Because you tell her, whisper in her ear, you bought a $100 bottle of deer urine in a public place when you do that. You need to film that and send it to us. All right. Hey, join the club tonight, folks. We'll be right back. All right. Gary Sams from Afton, Tennessee. He's got a question. I had a bachelor group of 3, 140 to 160 class bucks. That's a group of good bucks right there. Don't let that get past you, folks. 140 to 160 class. Had 3 of them coming in a soybean field. Listen to this, early last year. I was never able to pick the right tree as they entered the field on the north side at different spots. Once they entered the field, they went straight to the middle and never walked the edge. What can I do to increase my chances of getting them to enter the same location? Gary, if you're watching tonight, call us, and I would love for you to call in to answer this question, because most of the time when people ask me a question like this, it prompts questions. For instance, how big is the field? Is there hardwoods? What's the pressure on the back side of the field? Are you bow hunting? Are you rifle hunting? It sounds like you're bow hunting. And it sounds odd, but it is not for big bucks to come out and then come out into the field. Now, are they coming out in the field to doze, or are they coming out to eat? If it's early archery season, so they're not coming out there chances chasing does. It's early archery. Where's he from? Tennessee. So they're just coming out into the field feeding. Be very interested in answering. I try not to give answers that I don't know the right circumstances to, but if you've got 2 or 3 140 to 160 class bucks coming out in a green field or a field, and they say we don't even know if it's a green field here. Be interested to know if it's a green field, a food plot is what I'm saying, or is it a cutover corn field? Is it a hay field? Is it an alfalfa field? And if they're coming out, are they going back in the same place? Are they always coming out on the same side, but from different points of it? Are they coming out at the same time of day from those 3 different points? If they're coming out on one side and going out, or are they going back the same way they came? There's a lot of questions that will tell me how to answer whether or not how to set up on them. Some good questions, and it's a good question how to do it. I just need a little more answer on the questions than that. So Gary, if you're watching us, do call back in and ask that. I'd like to come find those 140, 160 class bucks, let alone 3 coming into the same field. That you're hunting in a very good place, and you don't want to screw that up by no stretch of the imagination. Be interested in knowing if you got to be bow hunting. Got to be bow hunting, or we'd be already seeing a picture. Give us a buzz and call into the show and let us know that. Okay. Keep going? Good. All right, we're going to take a Facebook question. Jody, Big Jody Tatlow is, of course, Jody's a club member. Double Springs, Alabama. We verified that. That's not to be confused with Tunnel Springs, which is in Monroe County, Alabama. Are does coming into heat spooked by scent? Does scent turn does away being she's not ready to be fooled with yet? The answer could be yes. Sometimes we'll have people call in, or I'll be doing a seminar somewhere, and they'll say, I used your scent, or I used estrus, or I used your scent and had a doe coming in, and all of a sudden one come in, she blew and stomped and blew and took off. Well, normally when that happens, if it's not the stomp, but if you got a doe, another doe comes in and she's coming into estrus. Well, first of all, let's clarify. If you got a buck chasing a doe, is that doe, guys that's listening, is that, of course, Jody knows the answer to this because I know Jody. Buck's chasing a doe, you say, hey, Don, is that doe's in what? Most people are going to say that doe that's being ran, she's in estrus. She is not. She's coming into estrus, thus the reason she's running. Think about it. You see a buck chasing a doe, she's not in estrus. She's coming into estrus. When you see bucks run does, that is not the peak of the rut, it's the beginning of the peak of the rut. The peak is when the majority of them are standing. Now then, let's answer the question. If a buck is running a doe, and the reason she's running is because she's not in, she don't want to be fooled with. Okay, now then, common sense says that's the case, and it is, biologically. All right, now let's take that same scenario, and Jody, here I am, I'm hunting, and what I do is I pour scent outside, and what happens is I pour it outside. No, Todd, that was not my fault. So as I pour that scent, Jody, estrus out, and let's say you're sitting there, and another doe comes downwind, and she smells another doe that is in estrus, or she smells what she thinks is another doe in estrus, and she's coming in, and she don't want to be fooled with. My Lord, the last thing she wants to do is hang around a doe that's in estrus. Because if one is standing and a buck's going to come to her, well, he's going to irritate her too. So common sense says, and it is, that's the reason, Jody, sometimes people think, well, it spooks a doe. Well, what happens is that doe gets nervous, not because of the other doe, but because the other doe is going to bring bucks in. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. And yes, I'm stringing this out. Paul's buzzing. Honestly, you can't make this stuff up, folks. All right. Jody, it's a good question. We get asked that a lot in seminars. To recap it, it does not normally spook, but it can. Only because the doe that is spooked tends to be coming in. She don't want to be around other does that are in, because bucks are going to be there, and the last thing she's wanting to do is to be fooled with. That's the reason she's running. So that's why. And it bumfundles people as to why the doe scent will scare another doe. There you are. And we don't mean to boil this stuff down to just like simplicity, but that's the only way we know how to. We know how to explain it to you. All right. Well, look here, Big Paul Stillman, New Jersey boy. Of course, we know Paul. Paul's got a website question. Could you discuss the use of decoys, buck or doe? Which works best at what time of the year? How to set up, direction deer will approach, etc. I am not hunting over bait. That's okay. Strictly using top secret scents. Now that's what we're talking about right there. All right. So let's see if we can answer that. First of all, guys, we talked. We talk about 3 defenses: ears, eyes, nose. What's the most important? Nose. So you get up in a tree and you grunt or you rattle. Buck's going to go downwind. Grunting, rattling simply puts the deer downwind. And when the buck doe goes downwind, what he's doing is he's wanting to smell what he's hearing. All right, so he goes downwind. He's not going downwind to see what he's hearing. He's going downwind to smell what he's hearing. So he goes downwind. You got buck urine out. It's called fleaming. He curls the upper lip. He smells it. Okay, I got a buck. So now he starts coming in. Sometimes, especially with an older buck, a young buck can just kind of foolishly come on in sometimes. But a big buck, a mature buck, those three we just talked about, from 140 to 160 class bucks coming in that field in Tennessee, you're not going to fool them bad boys. They live long enough. They got big by learning, collectively learning. So what happens is, when you grunt or rattle and he goes downwind, Paul, he's now smelling what he's hearing. He's got one more defense to whip. What is that? Eyes. And in the states, and I emphasize this, in the states that you can legally use a decoy, use it. The key is getting that decoy in and out of the woods without getting shot. Now, I say that, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. These rigid decoys that you're taking in under your arm, got antlers on it, walking through the woods, kind of silly. You better strap orange on that bad boy and go in before daylight. Don't go be walking in and out of the woods with a deer strapped under your arm as you walk out. Somebody's going to shoot you. So, but the reason that it works, Paul, is that last little bit of distance to get him in. We've talked from time to time, and you hear people calling in asking about a grunt, snort, wheeze. And what's really interesting about that, I don't know if just that more people are realizing what they're hearing, which is probably what's happening, or is there more bucks doing it, which I think is the previous, that more people are hearing about it, and now they're hearing it and go, oh yeah, I know what that is. The most aggressive sound a whitetail will make is called a grunt, snort, wheeze. And what that buck's done, he's went downwind, he's come about as far by granny as he's gonna come. And now what he's doing is telling you, come on, hey, come on. So what he's doing, he's telling you to come to him now. And so it's a challenge. If you got a decoy sitting there, then you can get that visual on him. He ain't going to just sit there forever and see a decoy standing there. So, but you put the buck urine with the decoy. Now, I like to take one side of the antlers off because it looks like he's had his butt kicked. Any buck could come into that. And if you got a bigger buck standing out there and a little buck wants to come in and screw with him, he ain't going to stand that. The big buck's going to come in to whip both of them. So either way, it's a win-win. But use buck urine with it. And I say from time to time on this show, just for giggles, it's not just for giggles, you need to get your cell phone out and film it. Get you a buck decoy and get you some top secret estrus. Put it on his butt. Get your phone. It's a hoot. You'll watch that old boy coming there and he is all screwed up because his eyes, he still got to, when he come into a decoy, he don't just throw his senses away. All of a sudden, the nose don't blow off and go off somewhere, and his ears don't fly off and go somewhere, and he's just got his eyes. He's still got all three senses going on, and his nose is telling him it's a doe, and his eyes is saying not so much. And you watch that bad boy, and eventually that nose is going to win out. And that old boy will just kind of look around sheepishly like, and you know what he's fixing to do? He's fixing to mount that buck decoy because his nose says it's a duck. You hadn't tried it, get your camera as funny as I'll get at. That's how strong it is. Okay, website question. Paul had two questions. Okay, I wasn't just reading this. Paul did have two questions. Okay, Paul has a second question. Hi Don, I really enjoy the show as you can see, and we do appreciate you watching, Paul. My question is, can you use more than one scent in a mock scrape? Absolutely. Such as reserve buck and tarsal, or reserve buck and estrus, or any combination that works well in any of the three phases. What combination, if any, would you not use? Paul, you asked that question perfectly, and the answer is yes. You can use any combination of those, and the key to what he just said is in each of the three phases, pre, peak, and post, because different combinations in those different phases will help to your advantage. And yes, you certainly can use the buck with the tarsal, and obviously during pre-rut, Paul, you know everybody use buck with estrus. Rule of thumb: use buck urine every day of the year. Once he starts chasing does, start using the estrus. Use them both together to the end of season. Buck every day of the year. Once he starts chasing does, you're in New Jersey there, so Paul, Halloween on, add your estrus and use it right on through the end of season. That was a very good question, and it was asked correctly in light of the last part of it. Works well in each of the three phases. The tarsal is, a lot of people will use tarsal during pre-rut at mock scrapes. You can use buck urine and tarsal together. You can use, Paul, you can use buck urine, and I use tarsal with buck and primary scrapes a lot. But certainly in secondary scrapes, first part of the year, what I call the little frustration scrapes. And you can also make mock scrapes with the buck urine and the tarsal. So a buck tarsal's combination good to any time. But once they start chasing them does, you can keep using buck tarsal together. You can use that all season, and then you can throw your estrus with it once he starts chasing the does and use it the rest of the year. And of course, you can grunt and rattle with both. You've got to be using buck and tarsal. You don't have to use the tarsal, but you got to be using buck urine to grunt or rattle. It only gives you tarsal gives you that little extra little punch. When we were talking about the previous question, Paul, you had about, I don't think it was Paul, but it was the previous we were talking about, if he goes downwind and he hangs up, what is a decoy, that tarsal will give that extra little, hey, that sucker's, he's hot. So, great question. Use it all three phases. All righty. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% DEET-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
Introducing Scent Defense, a revolutionary 3-in-1 formula from Top Secret. Infused with antimicrobial silver copper synergy technology to attack odor before it starts. Fortified with NeuroX to attack and repel insects instantly. Scent Defense is specifically formulated to attract deer while simultaneously destroying odor. Scent Defense, the 3-in-1 formula for success.
Alrighty, folks, we're back. Big Paul Stillman. Big Paul, we appreciate that question just come in. And now I guess we got another one here, and we're going to see if we can get it right. And you guys going to just laugh at me because I'm going to get it right. It's Giuseppe. No. Dad, blame it. How do you say it?
Giuseppe.
Huh?
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe?
Yeah.
Giuseppe. Giuseppe, baby. I'm not even going to begin to pronounce your last name. But he's not that far from us. He's down there in Hollywood, Florida. Hey, Giuseppe, you need to get you some BioShield. Seriously. You a little bit closer down there than we are now to that second virus. Keep the mosquitoes off of you. Take a bath, wash your clothes, carry it with you, 100% natural. Last 8 hours, 98% repellency. Get you some. Seriously. All right, Big Giuseppe's got a question for us tonight. When purchasing or leasing potential hunting property, what are key things to look for when making a decision? Well, and I can just see Giuseppe down there in Hollywood, Florida, because everybody in Central Florida hunts South Georgia and South Alabama. So, Giuseppe, I know what you're talking about, baby. I feel your pain because we see them tags coming up in here. Man, Lord have mercy. You would think it was the Exodus happening and everybody going north. But anyway, looking for a piece of property. Obviously, you want to look who had it before you. Was it a hunting club? Is it private? What county is it in? What's the history of the county? What's the population of the county? Who's leased a piece of property around you? How long have they had it? Then, all those are questions you probably already know about a given piece of property. And then all you got to do is just go to Google Earth, get that piece of property, Google it, and you can see everything on that piece of property. You can see where the food plots are. Better yet, you can see all the food plots in the pressure outside of that property. Understanding a piece of property is looking at it. What's infinitely just as important is know what's going on around it. Always know, one of the questions I ask when somebody asks me something, I say, okay, here's a piece of property, how do you hunt it? Well, tell me what's around it. That tells me if they're killing them before you get to them, if they're running them through, if it's water, you know, all that kind of stuff makes a difference. Property in South Georgia and South Alabama, as you know, except is high. Is supply and demand. You know, two great states for hunting. But those are the key things you want to look for. You know, if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to lease, well, you're saying when purchasing or leasing, you know, two totally different things. A lot of people, what they're doing, and you don't see it so much in Alabama, but oddly enough, you see it in Mississippi. And especially in the Delta, there's people over there that will, you know, they may buy 3,000 acres, and it may cost you $100,000. And I'm telling you that what I know, because I know the people that's in them. They may go and spend $100,000 a piece to buy, and may have 5 people or whatever the property costs, and they divide it up under 10 people or ever how many people they want to do, and they buy the property. Then the club, you actually own part of the ownership of that property, 1/10 of 2,000 acres, say. But then every year there's like a 10,000 or 1,000 or whatever they set a fee to be part of to maintain the property. Then there's just where you just flat go buy whatever piece of property you want. It may be 50 acres, 100 acres. Listen, if it's a right piece of property, I have 20 acres behind a little old house in Furman, Alabama, that I take every year. I'll kill 5-6 does, and I count them. Every one of them comes out of that 20-acre clear cut, and I can kill till you just absolutely stinking blue in the face. But I know where they're coming from. I know the property around it. You know, so all that makes a difference. And so you don't always have to have big pieces of property to achieve what you want, especially in the north. Of course, you're in Florida, probably talking about South Georgia. Now, if you're coming up north of Hollywood, Florida, Hollywood's on the west side, isn't it? It's on the east side? No, it's on the west side, isn't it? Hollywood, Florida? I think so. But anyway, you know, once you come up north, you know, south of Tallahassee, you know, one of the counties, if you ever get a chance to hunt it, is Wakulla County. Wakulla County, just south of Tallahassee. It is the largest and the last frontier county in Florida. Some great hunting along the Apalachicola there, river there, but you're going to have hog, bear, but you're going to have some good whitetail hunting there as well. So take all those considerations in when you're looking at a piece of property to buy or to purchase. Hollywood is on the west side, isn't it? See, I thought it was because it's just south of Apalachicola there. I believe it is. But anyway, purchasing or buying, of course, if you're purchasing, you're buying it from somebody, and then why did they have it? Was it a farmer that decided, you know, he's retiring and he don't want to farm anymore? Is it a dairy farmer, or is it somebody who bought it as an investment property and they never hunted, or somebody bought it and hunted the dog stew out of it, or a hunting lease that hunted the dog and just killed everything that walked, and now the club fell apart and you got a piece of property? Yep, but not a very good piece of property. Then it's going to take a number of years to build that piece of property back up. So, you know, are you buying it or are you leasing it for short term or long term? All that comes into play when you start looking at a piece of property. You would think, hey, it's in South Georgia, I want it. Well, there's a lot of variations to it. And it's something worth looking at. Easiest thing, ask those questions, go to Google Earth. Absolutely fascinating. Go to Google Earth. You can tell who's got what where. There's no guesswork to it. You can zoom in, see the road. You can see where the shooting house is. You can see it all. You can see how close it is to your property. You can see when they planted. Have they planted yet? Did they plant that one this year? They may not. You know there's a food plot over there, and you may think, I'm not going to plant. I don't even going to hunt that plot because they got a plot over near it. They didn't even plant it this year. Get on Google Earth and find out if they planted it. And then you'll know whether or not it's getting pressure to it. You can Google Earth or dirt road and see how much pressure you got on that road. It's crazy how much you can zoom down on. Now keep in mind, if you can look at them, They can look at you. Two-way street. All right. We got one more question? All right. Big Bob Newcomb. Now we know Big Bob. Big Bob's club member up there in Freelandville, Indiana. If you don't know, I think we told you Big Bob's a fireman, and he's probably chasing a fire tonight somewhere. Bob's asked a question: if you harvest a deer early in the season and the temperature is really hot, how much time do you have to get the deer in cool temperature? How hot is it? How hot is really hot? I've been told in hot weather it's best to get it in cool temp. Wonder if you track it for a while. In other words, if you tracked it for a while, how can a deer eat in a day? How much deer can eat in a day? Well, you asked a couple of questions there. Right off the get-go, common sense says as soon as an animal dies, it's gonna start. Listen, once an animal dies, the decaying process sets in. Any animal, humans, animal, any animal. But the cool temperature will slow that bloating down. Now, you're in Indiana, you're going to have, let's say at January, pick the date, it doesn't matter, Bob, you kill one in Indiana, I kill one in South Alabama. I've got to get him field dressed quicker than you're going to have it done up in Indiana. It's just, we know that. So you don't want that deer to get bloated. It's like a roadkill. I mean, you can tell how fresh a deer is. If he's bloated, I'm not going to fool with him. But it's a judgment call. I mean, the rule of thumb is you ain't got to knock him down and run gutty. Now, I'll give you an example. Down here where we are, or for that matter, really even up when we hunt, we're not one to take them to coolers, meat lockers. I mean, it's okay to do that. A lot of people do it. Millions of people do that. Grew up in South Alabama. We field dress and cut up our own deer. So, but if we shoot a deer down and you had to trail it, he's fine. I mean, you're in the process of trailing a deer. It takes time to find the deer. But if you shot him down this morning and I didn't find him till late this evening, now I got a question mark on that. And certainly, if it's archery season here in Alabama, because it's hot, we may be bow hunting 85, 90 degree weather. But if it's during the cool temperatures, 40, 50 degrees, you shoot a deer down, you track him, you're fine. I mean, I'd go ahead and I'd gut him as field dressing. Field dressing sounds so much nicer than gutting, but you're gutting a deer, so I'd I'd field dress him as quick as possible. And then you got way more time. Now, unlike out west, if you shoot an elk or a mule deer down, you obviously the same thing, you got the same problem. But once you dress that deer, now you're inviting flies and stuff on it because you got to pack that meat out. That's the reason a lot of times out west you'll see people take black powder, black pepper, or what's the hot pepper, cayenne pepper and stuff, and they'll spread it around on the inside of the carcass to where it'll keep the blowflies and stuff off of them. You don't have to do that with a whitetail because you're not hauling it that far. It could be like us when we were teenagers. We'd shoot one down, you'd haul him. They're talking about gun control in South Alabama. When I went to school, literally, not only did we drive up to school with guns in the back loaded in the gun rack, 2 or 3, the teachers drove up with them. A lot of them hunted with us. We got deer blood in the back of the truck. Sometimes they'll show up with school with a deer in the back, go to class. It's crazy. All that's changed. So it is the difference. Now, the last question, how much can a deer eat in a day? Tom Googled that, and it came up with the answer of on an average of 15, it could eat up to as much as 15 pounds a day. Well, gee, that is a relevant question. That depends on any given buck in any given day and in any given field in any given state, how much they can eat. And even that big buck that ate up to 15 pounds yesterday may not eat that much the next day. So it is relevant. How much? It even surprised me, up to 15 pounds. But obviously they're gonna, and a lot of that is ahead of peak of the rut. That's beefing up. Those bucks know that comes the peak of the rut, bucks chasing does, they start dropping that weight. So these animals, especially animals, they know, they sense it, and they beef up for it. Because once they start chasing them does, all hunters know that, man, they practically just absolutely cut off of eating. All they're doing is chasing does. Folks, it's been an hour. It's Thursday night. It's Hunting the Rut Hotline. And look, tell your friends about it. We're going into prime time. It's August, fixing to be September. Season's going to be coming in somewhere. Well, it's coming in about 11 days in South Carolina, southern zone of South Carolina. After that, we're talking mid to late September. It's going to start breaking around the country, and it's going to be on. All right, folks, we'll see you next Thursday night on Hunting the Rut Hotline. Call your friends, tell them about it. We'll see you next week.